How does this sound? 0% tax bracket in retirement. Sounds pretty good, doesn't it? Is that even possible? I guess we'll find out in a minute. I'm not a CPA, and I don't play one on, well, YouTube. I'm Glenda Jensen, president and founder of Jensen Financial Group. By the end of this video, you will have some ideas on how you might be able to plan to minimize, if not completely eliminate, taxes in retirement. And when we talk about taxes, when I say that term, usually I mean federal taxes, but also that could be state taxes. Every state is actually different. So it's not just, one state and everybody does the same thing. Every state can have their own system as far as that goes. So let's talk a little bit about the main source of income for most people in retirement is Social Security, right? We all know kind of how that works. So Social Security, here's a question. Is it taxable? Maybe. Okay, this is how that works. So with Social Security, if you make less than, and I'm just going to be using for a single person, if you make less than $25,000 while you're getting Social Security, then your Social Security is not taxed. All right, but what happens if you make more than $25,000? Well, then you'll jump into that next category of Social Security, and 50% of your Social Security income will be taxable. And if you make a decent more amount of money, you may even go to the top bracket, which says that basically they will tax 85% of your Social Security income. So obviously from a tax point of view, we want as little income as possible in Social Security because we don't want to trigger that tax. But at the same time, can you live off of, a smaller amount of money in retirement? So that's a little bit about how Social Security works as far as how it gets triggered. So what we have to do is identify, well, what is income in retirement? I mean, obviously, if you have any kind of job whatsoever, whether it's a side hustle or just something that you do on a contract basis, whatever the case may be, obviously that is taxable, pretty straightforward, just like it's been your whole life. So, but another source of income, I would say, well, actually, let me go over two other sources of income would be something like municipal bonds, for example, has some tax advantages. We're not getting into that today, just kind of going through the list here. Another interesting one, and this is going to be a video in the future for sure, life insurance. In particular, index universal life insurance or cash value permanent type life insurance. That can actually generate income that doesn't really appear as income as far as the IRS is concerned. But again, completely different video later. So the real big one, I think, for most people, because what are the accounts that we save for in retirement? Well, usually it's an IRA or 401k. That's what it's for, right? It's supposed to be for retirement. So the problem with having just a traditional IRA or traditional 401k is that once you start taking money out of those, that shows up as income as far as the IRS is concerned. So that could trigger, depending on how much you take out of your IRA or your 401k, not only is that taxable, but also it could trigger additional tax on your Social Security. That's a bummer, I know. I can't tell you how many people that I've had come into my office and say, why are we paying so much more in taxes? And they didn't realize that pulling money out of their IRAs was actually going to trigger additional tax. So one solution for that is if you have a Roth IRA or 401k. I've talked about Roths before. I will continue to talk about Roths because yes, you're paying money or interest on them, but if you do it up front, because these are after-tax investments, you can pull money out of a Roth and it does not show up as income on your tax return, okay? Uncle Sam doesn't care. You've already paid the tax on the Roth. So there's no need for you to take any more money out than what you actually want from your Roth. So the Roth, again, is a huge option for being able to get to your income without possibly triggering Social Security. So another reason to seriously think about doing a Roth and converting to a Roth, or however you want to do it. I do these all the time for clients, so if this is something you want to look into, you can actually plan and convert your Roth IRAs or your traditional IRAs into a Roth IRA. So trust me, you'll be glad you did down the road. It kind of sucks now because you're paying a lot more in tax than you want to, but at the end of the day, you won't have to worry about it again. So I hope that makes sense. Give me a call, reach out to me if you want some help on figuring out how you can do this and plan in advance so that you're ready and you're not going to be surprised by any tax bills that you get in retirement. So I hope you find that helpful. Feel free to reach out to me, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already done it, and we'll see you next time. Take care.